Your move.
What is going on, you guys? Bastion YJ here, and today we're going to be doing a before you buy video. Now, I feel it's been a while since I've done one of these, probably since I believe February of this year, so it has been a little bit of time, but we haven't really had any new archetypes come out per se. We've had a few boosts to some archetypes, aka the branded structure that came out that helped, of course, boost Tri-Brigade, boost Despia, boost a whole bunch of other nonsense. But we are going to be getting a Dimension Force booster set coming out in the next week or two, I believe. So it's the perfect time to do a before you buy video. So for those of you guys looking to buy into that set, you actually go ahead and check out these videos just to see if this is something that you may want to go ahead and either buy just the singles of, or something you want to go ahead and buy just the sealed product of. But regardless, you got to go ahead and see what the deck is like, just pure version. Now for the before you buy videos, I normally just do the pure versions of each and every single deck coming out. For Therions, I'm going to be doing a pure version as well, so stick around for that. But I also will be tackling the Therion ABC deck, which is getting a lot of hype, but again, that's going to be in the next video. So go ahead, if you're interested in that, go ahead and subscribe down below, like the video for more. Now in today's video, we're going to be tackling the Scareclaw archetype, like I said before, coming out of Dimension Force within the next 2 weeks. So just like we do in every single before you buy, we'll be taking a look at 3 pros and 3 cons that really make the overall status of this deck and see how it's going to do in the upcoming meta. And then I'll go ahead and give you my prediction whether it's going to be a rogue, tier 2, tier 1, or potentially a game changer tier 0 archetype. So stick around to the end of the video to check out more. So as always, guys, we're going to go ahead and start off with the pros. Pro number 1, this deck has some phenomenal searchers in the deck already. What I mean by this is that it has really good in archetype searchers. So essentially Scareclaw Reichart, which is really good. So essentially when this guy is normal special summon, you get to add a Scareclaw spell or trap directly from your deck to your hand. So really good to go ahead and search out your Scareclaw Novas or your Scareclaw Splash, or potentially the Straddle. Another really good searcher that the archetype already has built in is actually going to be this one, Scareclaw Lichtheart, or Lichtheart, however you want to go ahead and say it. So it's really cool because essentially this is the main monster you're going to be going into each and every single combo, going first or second. It is going to be your first Link 1 you're going to be going ahead and summoning, so it's really good that immediately on Link Summon, it gets to go ahead and add a field spell from your deck to your hand, which then the field spell goes on to search any of your Scareclaw or Visa Starfrost monsters from your deck. So pretty much the searcher for the searcher that searches everything. So it's really good, already built in. And also you can go ahead and add cards like Piri Ray's map, which is going to be right down here, in order to add that much level of consistency. For those of you guys who do not know, Scareclaw is a deck that primarily, I guess, prioritizes a control style of play. However, the attack points of all their, the majority I should say, of their main monsters are going to have 0 attack. That just means that they're very easily accessible through cards like Piri Ray's map, which you're going to get a normal summon and link it off into your Scareclaw Lichtheart, which then you can go ahead and search out again the field spell, and all of them special summon themselves right off the hand, so it's really good for that as well. Pro number 2 I'm going to go ahead and give Scareclaw is that all of them are level 4 and level 3 monsters. And going back to what I just said recently regarding the fact that they all can special summon themselves as long as you control a Scareclaw monster, you can special summon these guys to an adjacent column or the same column as you already have a Scareclaw monster already. So it's really good for that. So essentially it's a very spammy deck, but it's a control based deck. But the fact also that it's primarily level 4s and level 3s gives you insanely good access to cards like Baron de Fleur, as well as Virtual World Shenshin. So essentially Shenshin being the level 9 target and then Baron de Fleur being the level 10 target gives you an insane turn 1 board that you can actually go ahead and do, providing your own floodgates, providing negations for yourself. So you're pretty much going to be using, it has no in archetype tuner monsters, but that's where all your hand traps come in, your ghost ogres, your ghost bells, your ash blossoms, things like that. Not DD Kuro, of course, but you know, it is what it is. It also, you play Krishna Haku Firebrax in the extra deck as well to give you then further access to these cards, should that be the route that you want to go with this deck. So it does have a little bit of versatility in that sense also, which is really cool for the archetype as well. The third pro that I think that this deck has over a lot of the future decks coming up, and even some of the most recent meta decks that are more recently played in the current format, is that this is a going second deck. not necessarily strictly restrained to going second, but this deck really just thrives off of going second and pretty much negating all your opponent's monster effects by turning it into defense position with your boss monster, which is Scareclaw Tricart. It was really good boss monster. So essentially it's a fantastic going second deck, which I believe is going to catch a lot of people off guard. Of course, each and every single deck nowadays just wants to go first, set up their board. Even when it comes down to even Tri-Brigade wants to go first, Despio wants to go first primarily. I can't think of any deck that would prefer going second in this current format. So this is going to catch a lot of people off guard primarily, so it's really good to go ahead and immediately just go take the game 1 win just off of surprise factor alone. But now that we've taken a look at some of the pros, let's take a look at some of the cons that come with this deck as well. So the first con I do see with this deck is that unfortunately, because it is a going second deck, which I know I just said was a pro, in the sense that yes, you are going to be eking out a lot of game 1 wins just because of sheer surprise factor. Your opponent's not going to be expecting you to want to go second even if you do win the dice roll. Games 2 and 3 are gonna be a bit of a challenge if you are then forced to go second then. Why do I say this? Because this deck is extremely easy to side against. So the cards that stop this deck, Summon Limit, Kaiju's, Raw Sphere Mode, you know, things like that, it just you know, Torrential Tribute would absolutely obliterate this deck. It doesn't have the best recursion from the graveyard. So that is something to think about moving forward. You are going to want to go ahead and play a lot of, at least in your side deck for this, you are going to have to play a lot of back row hate. I'm talking Harpy's Feather Duster, Twin Twister, Cosmic Cyclone, depending on what you believe is going to be the best matchup for you as well. Just a lot of things like that, because again, siding against this deck is going to be extremely easy as well, so go ahead and be on the lookout for that. The second con that I am seeing with this deck is that unfortunately it does not have any in-archetype negates. Now I did say earlier that the boss monster Scareclaw Tricart does provide a hindrance for your opponent's effect monsters, but it's just that this guy is unaffected by any defense position monsters. Your opponent can still activate their effects, but this guy just won't be negated, which is really nice. However, it's not really going to be the end-all be-all of the entire deck. Just having a lot more in-archetype negates, or just a way to easily get into a negation board, is something that this deck is desperately missing. Unfortunately, I mean, the only thing I could really see is if you were to make your Baron or an Appaloosa turn 1, maybe turn 2, but it doesn't have any in-archetype interruption as far as that's concerned, so it's going to have to really work that much harder to go ahead and put something like that on the board. I'm not saying it's impossible, I'm saying it's going to be just a little bit more complicated because it's not generally built into the archetype, whereas a deck like it's going to be coming up in the near future, the Splight deck, which has spell and trap negations and monster negations already built into the main deck, and they're easily searchable, and they're easy to go ahead and bring out onto the field as well. I think it's Splight Red that negates the monster effects, and Splight Carrot that negates the spell and traps. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but it's you know, something like that would be really useful as far as taking this deck to that next level. And lastly, guys, the third con that I am seeing with this deck is that it relies way too heavily on two things. First is the extra deck. This deck does absolutely nothing without its extra deck. So if you have like a card that prevents you from special summoning from the extra deck, Scythe. So it's very extra deck reliant, and it's also extremely normal summon reliant. Just by being able to go ahead and get even if you compulse their first summon, Solemn, Torrential, you know, whatever it might be, as long as you get rid of their first monster, the game is over for them. Their turn is done. So there's not much other things they can do. So what I mean by this is, let's say you're playing, so you guys have maybe seen, I posted a Tri-Brigade deck profile recently. In the event that your Tri-Brigade plays fail, you can fall back on the branded part of the deck. In the event that you're playing the Bird Up version or the Tri-Brigade Lyrilusk, in case your Lyrilusk plays fail, you can go the Tri-Brigade route, and vice versa. So really just having other ways you can go ahead and interact with your deck, and other ways, I guess multiple win conditions, multiple playstyles you can have within your deck is really just, versatility is the word I'm trying to say, is something this deck severely lacks. Even with Sword Soul, you can either go the Tenyu route or the Sword Soul route, and they kind of combine in the middle, but even then they both make very, very good boards on their own. Other decks that are really, really good and have this type of playstyle are going to be like Prank Kids. Prank Kids DPE is phenomenal. You can go Adventure route, you can go DPE route, you can go Prank Kid route, you can go all three, you can go just two of them, just one of them, and regardless, it's going to be a menacing enough board to where you can at least survive another 2-3 turns while you draw the rest of your engine pieces as well, and that's why those decks are so successful. So now that we've gone over all the pros and cons, 3 pros and 3 cons again for this archetype, overall I do believe it's going to be more like a rogue tier status deck. I do believe it can potentially top a few regionals here and there just by the sheer, again, surprise factor of the deck. It has really good searchability, things like that, but the overall lack of versatility and reliance on the normal summon and the extra deck is really what I think is really going to put this deck at a lower tier level. So overall, I think it's going to be a rogue tier deck in this upcoming format. Now, if you guys disagree or think I'm wrong, by all means, feel free to go ahead and let me know in the comments section down below. But if you did enjoy the video, go ahead and leave a like on the video for more. Subscribe for more, guys. Therions is next, and then Therion ABCs. I'll see you guys in the next one.